Good evening. Here's the Fortune's Global News coming to you on Fortune's Television. I am Hauwa'u Lere with the news. But first, the headlines. Capital projects crumble as state cuts spending. Nigerian develops machine learning model for e-commerce. On the foreign scene, Afghanistan boss crash death toll hit 76. On sport, Super Eagles B bows out with 2-0 win over Congo. Now the news in details. Procurement delays, worsening insecurity, and rising cost of goods and services have emerged as major reasons several state governments failed to meet their capital expenditure target in the first 6 months of 2025. Findings from state second quarter budget implementation reports reveal that capital spending across many states remains significantly below expectations, despite ambitious budgetary provisions designed to accelerate infrastructure growth. A fresh breakdown of the state government expenditure between January and June 2025 showed that 31 states collectively disbursed 2.75 trillion naira for capital projects. However, this figure represents only a fraction of the 17.51 trillion naira they had budgeted for capital expenditure in the 2025 fiscal year. A Nigerian and PhD student in applied mathematics in Mississippi State University, Deborah Okoli, has built an easy-to-understand machine learning system for online markets. In an interview with newsmen on Tuesday, she said her research focused on helping businesses and policymakers make smarter, data-driven choices in the fast-paced world of e-commerce. Okoli's work centers on what she calls lag-aware machine learning, a method that doesn't just ask what drives online market growth, but when. The Department of State Services has urged the Federal High Court in Abuja to deny bail to 5 men standing trial over their alleged involvement in the June 5, 2022 terror attack on St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church, Hauwa'u, on the state, which left about 40 worshippers dead and over 100 injured. The DSS in counter affidavit to the defendant's bail application warned that the men had alleged ties to foreign terrorist fighters linked to the Al-Shabaab group and could abscond if released. The defendants are Idris Abdulmalik Omiza, Al-Qasim Idris, Jamiu Abdulmalik, Abdul Halim Idris, and Momo Otuo Abubakar. They were arraigned on August 11 on 9 counts bordering on terrorism. The Nigerian government is considering an upward review of salaries for political office holders, following concerns that their current earnings are inadequate and outdated. The chairman of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, Mohammed Shehu, disclosed this at a press briefing in Abuja on Monday. Shehu noted that President Bola Tinubu presently earns 1.5 million naira monthly, while ministers receive less than 1 million naira, figures that have remained unchanged since 2008. The Independent National Electoral Commission in Zamfara has scheduled the conduct of a supplementary election in 5 polling units of Kauranamoda South State Assembly constituencies to August 21st. The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Mahmoud Isa, made this known at a stakeholders meeting in Gusau on Tuesday. Isa said the supplementary election will be held in 5 polling units in Gambarawa and Sakajiki registration areas, where the August 16 by-election results were cancelled following alleged irregularities. Survivors of an attack on a mosque in Katsina State said they were attacked in the early hours of Tuesday while observing the Subhi morning prayers. Members of the Gidan Monto community, which is less than 10 kilometers from Malumfashi town of Katsina State, who spoke to us yesterday, said about 23 people died in the incident, but the state government said 13 worshippers were killed. It was also gathered that many others sustained varying degrees of injuries following the attack. The incident occurred just a day after Governor Dukwarada began a 3-week medical leave, transferring power to his deputy, Malam Faruk Lawal. The federal government has formally launched the implementation phase of a landmark reform, allowing colleges of education across the country to independently run both the National Certificate in Education and degree programs without university affiliation. Speaking at the National Summit held in Abuja on Tuesday, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, represented by the Minister of State for Education, Suwaiba, said Ahmed described the initiative as a historic milestone in Nigeria's educational development. Professor Paulinus Gichoke Okwele, Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Colleges of Education, described the reform as historic, noting that it will revitalize teacher education and expand access for students to teachers. On sports, Nigerian Super Eagles B wrapped up their CHAN 2024 campaign on a high note with a 2-0 victory over Congo's Red Devil yesterday. The result, though not enough to secure progression, allowed the home-based Eagles to draw some pride after the back-to-back defeats. Nigeria finished third in Group D with 3 points, while Sudan topped the group following a goalless draw with defending champions Senegal. Congo ended bottom with 2 points. On the foreign scene, the death toll from a collision between a bus carrying Afghan migrants returning from Iran and 2 other vehicles in western Afghanistan has risen to 76. 76 citizens of the country lost their lives in the incident and 3 others were seriously injured. Muhammad Yusuf Saidi, Herat's provincial government spokesman, said in a statement, police in Guzara district outside Herat city, where the accident took place on Tuesday night, said the bus collided with a motorcycle and a truck carrying fuel, sparking a fire. To end the news, a recap of the major headlines. Capital projects crumble as state cuts spending. Nigerian develops machine learning model for e-commerce. On the foreign scene, Afghanistan bus crash death toll hit 76. On sport, Super Eagles B bows out with 2-0 win over Congo. That was the news at this hour. On behalf of the news editor, Balara Balawal Zaria, I am Hauwa'u Lere, thanking you for investing your time.